You're funny because you always ask questions that kind of make me one think, but also make sure that what I'm saying actually makes sense. Like you asked me, why am I always trying to do something different? Why am I always trying to go above and beyond and say I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do this. And I sat on that for a little minute because my answer to that is I'm not trying to be different just to be a contrarian. I'm fascinated with processes. I'm interested in how things became right. I know like traditional sports media and uh, topics are always talking about um, what happened. I'm more so interested in how we even got there. Because once you understand how we got there, if this headline is so bad, then we can always reverse engineer or we can, pinpoint where it went wrong at and figure out how we could have changed it or how we can change it. And when I explain it to you, um, it always comes across as I'll say, yeah, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do this with this. Or I'll say, like, remember that time we talked about like being a GM. And I think I said this on one of these interviews I did a few years ago. I'm not trying to be a GM, not in the traditional sense. And what I meant by that was to be a GM in today's time, people highlight the they highlight the recruitment, they highlight who signed who, they highlight all of the top 25 recruiting classes, or they focus on who offer who the most money. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but what was the process for you to even get to the offer or to the signing, or what was your thought process on how you put together the board, or where did you get your information from to even put your board together? What was the budget? How did we get to the budget? How did we plan on using the budget? Were you forecasting for 3 years from now because you you signed this kid, but the rules changed, and then you want to keep this kid or this athlete, for the future? Were you doing, forecasting, or were you just looking at today? And either which way, I mean, everybody's situation and processing is different. But I've always looked at what's the full roadmap, what's the full plan, because I want to be able to understand if anything goes wrong or there's a bottleneck somewhere. I can always go back and find it. But if you're always fixing things because you're only dealing in the moment, that's one of those things that I just didn't want to do. So when we started building out this show and the company and the brand and the media assets, I wanted to look at it from a standpoint like, okay, if we took this one headline, entrepreneur just sold his company for $400 million, right? Big headline, big number. Everybody asked them things like, how does it feel to sell? What, what led you to sell, or how does it feel to have a $400 million sale? I'm always interested in what was the process to even build a company. What was the foundation of it? What did you set out to do? Because people only see this part. I'm more interested in how did you set up your pricing, and who was the target audience, and what was the market, and then how'd you infiltrate it, how'd you handle setbacks, how'd you handle lost years. Because if you understand these things, then you can make a better decision when building your company, building your brand, building your enterprise. And I think a lot of people jump out and they want to do things from the headline, right? Multiple six figures, or jump in the podcast world, or start your own media brand because media. But you have to have some sort of a system, some sort of a process. And for me, I'm always understanding or trying to understand, like, okay, if you're going to do this, then why? So whatever we talk about, from a media aspect, is always going to go, further than the headline and well before the outcome, right? Because we live in that decision space where it's like, okay, if you make this decision, here are the potential outcomes. if this outcome happened, then how do you handle this outcome? If this outcome happened, how do you handle this outcome? And I'm not really big on jumping out there on just uh, clickbait or hot topics, because headlines come and go, processes keep going, and that's one thing that I want this media uh, aspect of the company to be is we're showcasing that there's more to the story, and this isn't about anything other than what led to the headline.